What's good beneath the silence? Welcome back to another segment of our podcast called Question of the Day. Today we're here at a brothers group reunion.
What's up, guys? We're back with BTS podcast. I got my boy Samuel in the cut. He pulled up on us. We got a group of young men of God on fire for the Lord.
When did you know you had to take your faith as something that is personal instead of something that you were taught as a young man or you got introduced to by someone else?
Man, that's a great question, bro. And it ties back into, like I said, when I met him after high school. A lot of people when you get out of high school, like, you probably hear like life get real. You know what I'm saying? Life get real after high school. It hits you for real. So it's like in the midst of like me, like when real life is actually happening to me, different type of challenges, trials and tribulations going on in my life. Faith wasn't just something that it was just on the back pedal anymore. Like, no, I had to really step into this so I could really understand, like, what is this? Because when you're doing it on your strength for the longest, you have your results. And you got to get to a point where, like, okay, I got to get something else from you. And you got to seek a different type of level of understanding and wisdom. And growing up, if you're Haitian, you probably were going, your parents were taking you to church and everything like that. And it was forced. So that was like my situation. So it was forced for me. But once you get to a point where like you have conscience and you have understanding, it's like, okay, no, like this faith thing isn't just a joke. It's just not something that's just a Sunday thing or my parents do it. No, like, this is something that is a real thing that
it's a daily life.
It's a daily life. That if I seek it, that I will see some fruit in it and benefits, and there's love, there's peace, there's joy. I mean, you go in the Word of God, you see the fruits of it. But it's something that, like, when life really hits you, you don't want to let it happen like that. But oftentimes that's where you can really see, like, faith is something I really got to take serious.
If someone listening feels distant from God or believes they've gone too far to come back, what would you want them to hear about your journey?
It's a great question. You're never too far from the Lord. Like you're never too far from the Lord. And that He sees you and truly, truly cares for you. The Lord met me at my lowest point, when I was like depressed and everything. I never thought I could get depressed. Being in high school, you're living it up, you're full of life, you're around your boys and everything like that. Then I got to a point where I graduated high school and especially with not having any direction or with any relationship with the Lord, everything started plummeting down and sin in my life started increasing. And it got to a point where it's like I felt like there was a hole in my heart that nothing that I was doing could have filled it up. It was truly by seeking and chasing after the Lord that He was able to fill that emptiness in my heart, and I felt fulfillment, I felt love, I felt a relationship, I felt purpose after that. And it was in the middle of the furthest I've ever been from the Lord. I'm doing everything, smoking, drinking, fornicating, like you name it all. Like that's what I was doing at that time, and He met me there, and that's the goodness of Him. So no matter how far you are, He still cares for you, still loves you, and He still wants a relationship with you, for sure.
When your feelings and faith don't align, what discipline helps you stay committed instead of giving up?
When my feelings and my faith don't align. Ooh, that's so good. I think like that happens a lot. Happens a lot.
It does, definitely.
Almost probably every day I would say my feelings and my faith don't align because we have like our flesh. And like our flesh is like really where our feelings come from. We have our own evil, selfish desires. And I can think like probably like this week I've had some of those experiences, of when that happened. And I think the thing that I try to do more of is being aware of God. Because when we're unaware of Him, like we're not aware of like His presence in us, because He never leaves us.
For sure.
But we can leave His presence. So what I try to do is, try to be able to focus on Him, whether it's through like meditating on Him, praying, listening to worship music, just anything to get my mind on God.
Staying connected.
Exactly, just get my mind on Him, and that way, like, if my mind is more focused on Him, I'm gonna be more focused on trying to do what makes Him happy. Versus doing what makes me happy. So I'd say probably like getting my mind on God is what helps me be able to stay disciplined when my feelings don't align with the
Perfect. And what journey kind of brought you to God? What happened? What made you take that shift?
That's a good one, bro. That's a good one. I laugh about it because I think my like testimony is like, it's funny to me, but like it does help me connect with a certain type of people.
Yeah.
And like the way I kingdom God is, I always grew up in the church. You know,
Yeah.
go to church. Like I
Big
don't
Lee's
think
liquor like I.
that's it, bro.
Yeah, I feel you.
Bro, I broke my arm and still went to church, bro.
Yeah.
So it's like I always went to church, and you know, I had a love, I had a desire for God. You know, I had a desire to want to have a relationship with Him.
Yeah.
But I never really had the relationship. I knew of Him. I didn't really have the relationship until, you know, I went through a breakup, and it was just like that relationship was the first time I thought I felt love. You know what I mean? Truly felt love for who I was. Like a lot of my life, I just felt like, you know, like I had a low self-esteem, and like this person just made me feel seen, made me feel loved. And so when I received that, yo, who let this guy in here? Yo, cut that out.
You good.
But when I really like met this person, it was like the first time I felt loved. I felt seen. Like felt like, you know, I could really be appreciated for who I was. And then when that person wasn't there no more, you know, like it really left a hole in my heart. So I was like it was the first time I really felt that, you know.
Yeah.
And then when they left, it was like I realized I could never get this person back in my own strength. So I had to rely on something greater than my own strength. So I started seeking God, like reading my Bible consistently every day, like, God, I need you, like, God, I need you. And then eventually, after doing that for so long, I eventually, like, you know, this guy's, his love is different from, like, you know, what I was experiencing. And I really just started to fall in love with, like, reading my word and being in His presence. Then God started bringing the right people around me, and I just started to be able to be encouraged to continue to pursue God. And that was like 3 years ago, you know, and we're still walking it out. I was baptized before I did that, so I never got rebaptized or anything, but I definitely was able to reignite my relationship with Christ. And then from being in the right communities, I keep that flame lit.
Question of the day for you is, what moment in your life made your faith become personal instead of something that you were taught?
The moment was, it was last year actually. It was last year, and I had a girlfriend. And I was idolizing that girlfriend. I stopped going to church, I stopped going to worship nights, I stopped doing Bible studies, and I just put that away from the side when I knew that God was the one that I had to reach out after. You know? So when she needed this, when she needed that, I just wanted her presence more than God, and I realized that's what am I doing? You know, that's not what I'm supposed to do. So after we broke up, like June, May, we broke up, and I was like, I want to do better for myself. I don't want to stay in this crying every single day. I don't want to be sad, depressed, anxiety. It was crazy for me, and I looked at my Bible and I was like, I need to get back in that word. And I actually watched this anime. It was called Vinland Saga, and the main character, he used to be like doing really bad things, and then he changed his life. And I was like, I need to be that person to change my life, but not for myself, but for His glory, you know, for His grace.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, that's the only person we're trying to please, which is God.
Yes, sir.
Because if you're looking for validation in other people, you will never find it because those people are lost themselves.
Yes, sir.
So it's good. It's very important to have a personal connection with God because He's the only one that can deliver you from anything. Question for today is, what's been the biggest struggle you face in your walk with God?
Oh, for sure, lust. Lust is extremely huge and very, very challenging. That's a struggle. Another struggle I've faced is looking too much at myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just as soon as you look at too much of yourself, you know, you start to overthink. You start to, you know, think you're a big guy and all that. You know, you start to think that, you know, you can depend on yourself and not depend on God.
Yeah.
You know, so those two are very, very equally, you know, my biggest challenges when it comes to my spiritual journey.
And another question is, what discipline helped you stay committed and not giving up?
What discipline? Having my mind structured, the structure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just reminding myself that as long as my structure is in place and I'm able to trust in God, as a matter of fact, because my structure, aligns with God's structure. As long as my structure is in line with God's structure, then I'm so good. And then, it all ties back to the word as well.
Yeah.
Prayer. Oh man, the way prayer has worked a great work in my life. Prayer. Wake up in the morning, pray, thank God immediately. You know what I mean? Because as soon as you're coming to God and you're intentional about your prayer life, it's life changing. It's like the word says. You find this peace that surpasses all understanding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So prayer.
Yeah.
Prayer.
Hey, that prayer is very important because it breaks shackles, man.
Yes.
And what brought you to Christ? What was that journey like? Did something happen that really brought you and gravitated you towards Christ?
Just the blessings. I'm so aware of the blessings in my life. As a young kid, around 8 or 9, I was baptized, impulsively. Not really something that I really
Understood.
thought about. I just did it. So, after that, I really felt like the Spirit of God, His blessings and this conscious of God was just implemented in my mind. And, although I'm a sinful being, I'm still falling in these sinful desires and sinful habits.
Yeah.
I got baptized again, about a year ago. And that was more intentional. And I decided to give my life to Christ. I decided to surrender all my will to Him. And that's something that it changed. But, the blessings in my life, I'm so aware of just me being here, having a home and just having my family around me.
Definitely.
Everything around, the blessings, the skies. I look up to the skies, I'm like, man. And the questions as well, I'm questioning everything. I'm like, wow, who is so powerful to create all this?
Yeah.
God did.
One thing about God is He elects a person to give a message unto the people of Israel. Right? Israel was the chosen people of God that God chose to set the example to the world to know what it means to follow Yahweh. But Israel wasn't always perfect. They rebelled, they sinned, they went against God at times, just like us. Although we are the children of God, there's times where we rebel or we do our own thing when we sin against God. But God's grace is always sufficient. His mercy is stronger than our ability to sin. So even when we go away from God, He's still running after us. Even if it's a painful process of getting you back, He will get you back. But He doesn't want us to stay that way. He comes into this life with us, not to keep us in that lifestyle, but to pull us out. So God tells Hosea to marry this harlot because I want the people of Israel to see how they have been treating me. Because if I make them do something natural, if I make them do something on this earth, maybe they can catch it with their eyes. Right? Because it's hard to understand what God is saying in the spiritual when our spiritual understanding is dim. Sometimes He has to explain it to us in ways that we can understand, tangible things. Sometimes it might take your car getting broken down. Sometimes it might take you getting bankrupt. Sometimes it might take a breakup. Sometimes it might take certain things that you can actually see and feel for you to actually be able to understand what He's been trying to tell you. See, we ought to always remain aware of where you came from and who is the one that is the reason that we have life and life more abundantly. See, we have to remain in this constant awareness of knowing where you came from, knowing what God took you out of, knowing what your life was like apart from God, knowing how your mind used to drown in fear, doubt, and worry, knowing how your heart used to feel black, knowing how you wanted to pursue and chase the vanities of this life. You always have to remain in that awareness and remember where you came from, but also remember who was the one that took you out of that place. Because if we live in that constant place of remembrance or awareness, what we do is, like I said earlier, we can remain humble and remain in sonship. See, we as Christians, we have to make sure that our faith determines our circumstances, and our circumstances don't determine our faith. We have to remain in that constant awareness that if our circumstances are determining how our faith will respond, as opposed to our faith determining how our circumstances are, we will never truly step into sonship. We will never truly put ourselves before the Lord or sacrifice all of ourselves.
What does that kind of mean to you to be in that position, to be able to relate to these young men?
I mean, it means everything, right? Like, at the end of the day, it's not about me. It's not about a man. The only man that it's about is about Jesus Christ. And
Yes, sir.
I think why it's so easy to relate to the men that was here and to have such a powerful night every time we meet is because we all come with the same assignment, the same heart posture, the same understanding that truly the only thing that we need is Christ and Christ alone. Like, when he's exalted, it makes everything so easy. When his presence and his spirit is the only thing that's important, it makes everything so easy. And I mean, all these men of God are so encouraging, so powerful, so they're just mighty men of God. And it's easy when you come around people that want what you want, that are hungry for what you're hungry for. Like, all you have to do from there is just, we're literally just in agreement with one another, in perfect agreement. So it's just easy. When it's about Jesus, when he's the center, it's easy to connect.
For sure. And last final question, what does this moment mean to you? If you can actually give somebody that's going through a moment of distance with God in the relationship, what would you tell them in order to kind of bring them back to that safe feeling?
Yeah, I mean, if they heard anything from tonight as far as like what we talked about, man, like at the end of the day, it's all about knowing the truth. It's not enough to know the truth, but to have the truth live within you. So it's like God wants you to understand truth, and he wants you to receive truth.
Yeah.
And that truth is that he came, he died, and he rose again, that there's nothing on this earth that can fulfill us other than that truth, other than the sacrifice of the blood of the Lamb. So it's like God cares more about his sacrifice for you than your ability to perform in perfection.
Perfect.
You know what I mean? So it's like when we are seeing ourselves in struggles or in sins, like we begin to destroy ourselves more than the actual sin does.
Yeah.
Right? With our own lies, with our own guilt, with our own shame, because we've become more focused with our inability than his perfection.
Yes, sir.
And I think that's what it has to come back to for the believer. Like, I have to set my eyes back on the perfect King and understand that I need his truth to live within me.
Yeah.
Because the Bible says we're destroyed for a lack of knowledge. If we understand the knowledge of the truth and the promise that we have, we'll live that way as well. So, man of God, I want to see you guys here. BTS podcast, y'all tune in.
Yes,
They're
sir.
the freaking guys, man.